But wait,
Say hello.
nobody's here.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. We're just gonna wait a little bit for people to join this live webinar before we actually get started on how to start a hair extension business. Because I just want to make sure that everybody has the right link to join the live. Oh, did I unmute myself? Oh, Eugene unmuted me. All right, I guess we can just set up my IG Live. Wow, I just resent the link.
You didn't.
Can we put it from that far? I can't believe I'm doing this by myself.
That YouTube link is also going to serve as your replay. So you're being recorded right now too.
I can't edit it?
I don't think you can edit the replay.
Oh, well, okay. This is like, so if you're still watching 8 minutes or 11 minutes in wondering why I haven't started yet, I just wanted to send out the link for the webinar to everybody that registered to make sure that they're able to watch it. I see people logging in now, so it looks like you guys are just getting the link to log in. So definitely you can type in if you're watching on YouTube. And, just let me know that you're here and you can interact with me. I can see your comments as they come in. If you're on Instagram, though, I'm not going to be able to see your comments as they come in. So how am I going to talk to the people on Instagram?
Actually, you can make the camera face you.
Okay, so I see people joining the YouTube. We're just setting up Instagram. And if you're wondering why it's just me, I'll tell you guys in a second why you're only getting Johnetta today instead of both Johnetta and Denisha. But we've, Denisha and I spoken, we're gonna work something out so you guys still get the information that you need on how to start a hair business. So just give me 1 second and then I'll get us officially started in this webinar.
There.
Okay. All right. So we will get this webinar started because I know some of you guys want to get to your evening, and I don't know what's on TV tonight because I really don't watch TV very often. But okay, so tonight's webinar is how to start a hair extension business. And I am Johnetta Paye. I'm a business attorney. I have helped, well, I serve as a lawyer and business advisors to several multi-million-dollar companies and brands. I've also, part of have equity interest in a multi-million-dollar company, and I have tons of business experience. So, and I formed a lot of different like businesses. So that's why I'm qualified tonight to sit here and give you information on how to start a hair extension business. And my partner, Denisha, who's usually here with me, we had a little accident prior to setting up for today. So she had to go to the urgent care just to make sure that she's doing okay. So I'm going to do the best that I can to give you the accounting information, but we'll also give you Denisha's contact information so she can specifically explain any of like the accounting tips to you. And Denisha is a business accountant here based in Atlanta, Georgia. She's worked with a lot of profitable businesses and brands. And so she's really well versed in how to structure your business, financing, and accounting. But like I said, she's not here tonight, so we're going to soldier on without her. But so let's just talk about how to start a hair extension business, because that's what tonight's webinar is all about. And hey to everybody watching on IG. So some of the things we're going to consider tonight when it comes to setting up a hair extension business, we're going to talk about business formation. We're going to talk about the contracts you need. I'm going to give you some money management tips. That was Denisha's section. And then we're going to talk a little bit about profit planning for starting a hair extension business. So let's just get into the information. When you start a hair extension business, there's a couple different like company entities that you can form. You can either be like an S Corp, an LLC, or a C Corp. And from a liability standpoint, I always encourage clients to form themselves as an LLC. And then also, if you guys have any questions while I'm talking, definitely type them in on YouTube. I can see that. And on Instagram, I can also see your questions. So just feel free to type them as I go, and I'll address them rather than waiting to the end to ask me your questions. But as I was saying, when you're first starting a business, like the biggest question you're going to ask yourself is, what type of business entity should I form? And so for me, from a legal perspective, I always encourage my clients to formalize themselves as an LLC. Because when you're an LLC, basically what that means is if somebody is trying to sue you in your personal name, like, so for a hair extension, let's just say you sold some hair and somebody had like a really bad allergic reaction to the hair. And so now they want to sue you for supplying that hair to them. If you're an LLC, then they're limited to what the assets that your company owns. But if you're just out here selling hair in your individual capacity, then they can come after you in your personal name, and they can go after your house, your car, and stuff like that. So from a liability standpoint, I always encourage clients to form themselves as an LLC. But an LLC is not good for everybody from a tax standpoint. A lot of that depends on how much inventory you're moving, and that's where Denisha would get in and clarify a little bit more. But typically, traditionally, a lot of hair sellers typically will form themselves as corps for like the tax election. And like I said, we'll have Denisha send out like an email or something to explain the difference from a tax perspective of being an S Corp versus an LLC, especially when you're in the hair extension business and you have like inventory. Then the next thing you're going to want to do when you're forming your business, your hair extension business, is you're going to want to get an EIN number. And when you get your EIN number, you get to elect like how you want to be taxed. So if you're like an LLC, you can elect to be taxed as an S Corp. You can elect to be taxed as a C Corp. And a lot of how you elect to be taxed is, again, going to be based on how much inventory, how much volume you're moving. And then lastly, as a hair extension business, you're going to want to get like a business license to operate your specific business. And then in most states too, you're also going to want to get like a sales tax license. And a lot of times you have to do your sales tax license per county. So that's definitely something you're going to want to look into with the tax office in your specific state to see if you need to get like multiple tax license because you're selling hair in more than one state. Because a lot of people are selling hair online. So they're going to be selling products in different counties and different states. And so you're going to want to look into the necessary sales tax licenses that you're going to need for the markets that you're selling hair in. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, please definitely type them in because I can definitely see that. And I want to make sure that we're giving you guys the information that you need to start your business and that I'm answering your questions. So if you have any questions, just type them in along the way. But those are like the biggest things when you're forming your business that you're going to want to consider. Again, what type of business entity you should form. And a lot of that's going to be based on legal questions and tax questions to make sure if you should form yourself as an LLC or an S Corp. You're also going to want to apply for your EIN number, and the tax election you make when you apply for your EIN number is going to really depend on the volume of hair that or inventory that you're moving. And then lastly, you're going to want to check your state and county for any sales tax license that you're going to need and any business tax license that you're going to need. And then you'll have all of the things you need to like start the business, and then you should be able to open your bank account and actually start selling your products. So that's things to consider from a business formation standpoint. So now once you start the business, there are things that you need to look into from like a legal perspective. And so one of the things you're going to want to consider is having a freelance agreement, because you're going to have people like graphic designers designing logos for you. You're going to have a photographer taking pictures for you for like your hair to post on Instagram or wherever it is that you're using to market. And you might even have like a promo video done for you. And so with these vendors that you're working with creating content, you're going to want them to make sure that you own the content. So by law, if somebody creates content, then they own the rights to that content. And the only way that you get the rights to that content is if they assign it over to you. And so that's why you're going to want to have what's called the work for hire agreement. So that way, you know for sure you're getting the rights to the pictures that a photographer takes for you, the promo videos that a videographer does for you, and your logo and website that a graphic designer designs for you, because without that, the rights to it stays with them. And also you're going to want to consider that when you are actually looking for vendors to work with, because I know some graphic designers, they'll license like a website to you. And so you won't really fully own it. And so you have to decide as a business owner if it's important to you to own the rights to your website, or if you're cool just licensing the rights from like the graphic designer that designed it for you. So that's one agreement that you're going to need in your hair extension business. Another agreement that you're going to need is if you have people working for you. It depends now if you want to treat them as actual employees or if you're treating them as independent contractors. But either way, you want to have like, terms on how they're working with you. Because I know a lot of times people who supply hair are really secretive about who their vendor is and where they're buying their hair, and they don't want people to know that. So that's like kind of like a secret to your business. And so if you don't want an employee working for you or an independent contractor who's working for you to disclose information that you feel is like secretive or part of your secret sauce for your business, then you're going to want to make sure that whatever agreement in terms of an employee handbook or independent contractor contract has like a confidentiality clause. So that way they're not taking your business secrets and using it, or disclosing it. And then another thing too is like everybody works hard to get clients in the door. And so you might not want your independent contractor that's working for your business or your employee to like steal your clients. So you want to have like a non-solicitation clause in those agreements. So that's another thing that contract that you want to think about when you're starting your hair extension business. Those are like the two biggest ones. And then if you decide to have a storefront, you're going to have to sign a commercial lease. And so there are some things that you're going to want to look for in your commercial lease if you're doing a storefront, or even if you decide not to rent a storefront, but to actually buy one. Now that becomes like a real estate contract that you'll have to negotiate and considerations with that. So if you're doing like a commercial lease or if you're buying property, because you're a retail business, you're going to want to make sure that whatever property you're renting or buying is zoned for retail purposes, because you don't want to get this really cool like loft type situation and then find out it's zoned for residential, so you can't even sell hair out of this like cool space that you got. So those are some contract considerations that you should definitely think about when you're doing a hair extension business. And I just want to say hi to everybody that is joining on YouTube and everybody that's joining on Instagram. Just to recap for the new people, this is the How to Start a Hair Extension Business webinar. And so we've gone over basic business formation. And now we've talked about things that you should consider from like a legal perspective, contract-wise, when you're starting your hair extension business. And then the last thing from a contract perspective that you should consider is releases. So if you have like a model posing, wearing your hair or whatever, you have to get a release from that model to use their likeness and to use their image in your marketing material. So even though they like come in to like agree to take the picture, you still have to get their permission to use the picture in your marketing. So whenever you do like a video, a promo video, or you have a model pose, wear your hair for stock photos, you're definitely going to want them to sign a release agreement, just giving you rights to use the picture. So that's the biggest contracts you're going to need from a hair extension standpoint. And so the next section we were going to cover is money management. And again, like I said, this is where Denisha, the accountant, was going to come in and give you some money management tips for your hair extension business. But like I said, she had a minor accident while we were setting up for the webinar tonight. So she's not here. So I'm just going to quickly run through some general money management tips. But like I said, at the end, we'll give you her contact information. So that way, if you have like specific questions, specific money management questions or specific financial questions about starting a hair extension business, Denisha can definitely answer them for you since she's not physically here right now to do that. But one of the things that you're going to want to set up when you form your business is you're going to want to get a business bank account. And it's really important to separate your business bank account from your personal bank account for a couple of reasons. One, from like a liability standpoint, you don't want to commingle your funds. And if like somebody looking to sue you can show that your business and you are one and the same because you're operating from the same account, that gives you more exposure. But then just also from like a business revenue tracking standpoint, you want to keep your business finances separate because you want to know how much money your business is actually making and how much money you're actually spending, because that helps you to plan for your business success. But if you're like, oh, I'm bringing in this much money, but then that money is also covering your personal expenses, your business expenses, then you don't have like a real true sense of how much money your business is actually making. So you can't really like plan properly. Like you don't know how much money you need to hit every quarter to be able to afford like the inventory that you have to buy for hair, or how much you need to make to be able to pay your employees, to pay your rent or mortgage for your storefront. So you definitely want to establish your own business account. Another thing is you're going to want to have some sort of system where you're tracking your inventory and what you're selling. So if you're buying like 10 units of hair, you want to be able to track like how much you've sold and how much you have left to keep it. And obviously you're going to buy like more than 10. And if you're drop shipping, then too, you want to keep track of how much you're moving with your drop shipper, just to keep the inventory clean. So you know, like when you have to like re-up and order more hair or whatever the case may be. And then also you want to keep good numbers, because you're going to have to, like with any business, you have to reinvest back into the business in order to help you grow. And so you can plan how you reinvest back into the business if you have like strong, solid numbers. So like, let's just say you want to do like a holiday campaign and you know that you need to shoot like 2 promo commercials and you need to hire like 5 models to model like the different hair types that you're going to be offering. And then, you know, you want to run Facebook ads and all these things. And it's going to cost you, I don't know, we can just put a random number and let's say like $5,000 to do this holiday campaign. You're not going to know if you're going to be able to finance that if you're not keeping like good, accurate numbers on for how much you're making and how much like you're spending to grow the business. And then again, like I said, because hair is a good, you are going to have to pay sales tax. And so you want to be mindful of how much sales tax you're paying in the different county or different state that you have your hair extension business located in. And it's different based on the state requirements. So I can't give you an exact number. So you want to make sure that if you're not charging the sales tax up front, that you're making enough money to cover the sales tax on the back end. And so that's one of the things that to consider from a money management standpoint. And then last but not least, in any business nowadays, people want to file chargebacks. And so you want to put like some, and hey to everybody that's joining in. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to get the information out so we have enough time for questions too. But like I said, you can definitely ask me questions now as we go through. You don't have to wait until the end to ask me questions. But one of the things too that you're going to want to put into place is a system to account for like chargebacks, because in the society we live in now, people will pay for goods. Order goods. You'll send them out and then they want to file a chargeback saying for whatever reason. And so some of the things that you can do to prevent yourself from having to be responsible for a chargeback is putting like contracts in place or terms and conditions that people have to check off on your website. So, you know, you can't return the hair after so many days, or you are specifically agreeing that you're ordering this many bundles for this much. And so you kind of have like a valid contract. So if they do the chargeback, then you have something in writing or something that they consented to, that you can send to PayPal, Stripe, or whoever, you use to process your payments. And so that's from a money management standpoint, some of the things that you should consider. And then lastly, in any business, like profit planning really matters, because you're not going to like stay in business if you're not profit planning and making money. And so one of the things that you're going to want to consider now that you're in business, like you formed it, you've got your contracts in place, you're going to want to plan for how you're going to make a profit every month. So you have to like start with a number, like how much money do you need to make every month to sustain your business and to sustain your lifestyle? So like, let's just say you need to make $10,000 every month to cover your bills for your personal self, and then also to keep your business going. So how are you going to make that $10,000 a month? How many units of hair do you need to sell, and at what price do you need to sell it for? And then you start breaking down the numbers from there. So like, let's just say you need to sell like 20 units of Brazilian hair at $200, a bundle. And then you just add that up. And so now you know what your target is for the month and how many units you need to move. How are you going to now get the number of people or reach the number of people you need to reach to buy your product so you can make your sales goal? So if you have to sell like 20 bundles every month to hit like 10 grand a month, and we're just throwing random numbers out there, I'm sure the math, once you actually do it, is going to be a little bit different. But if let's just say you need to reach 20 people. So how are you going to reach those 20 people? Are you going to have like attend hair shows where you can meet people? Are you going to run Facebook ads? Are you going to go to networking events? Like, how are you going to reach, because say get 20 people to buy from you, like realistically, you're probably going to have to like reach over 50 people to convert 20. And so every month, how are you going to meet 50 new people or keep 50 new because if you don't want to consistently have to go get clients, then you have to make sure that you keep consistent clients. So how are you going to keep, from a customer service perspective, your clients happy so that they're returning customers every month? So it limits the number of new clients you have to attract each month to like keep your business going. So that's part of the whole profit planning situation. And I know I went kind of a little fast on the information. And we will send the PowerPoint presentation that we have with this information out to everybody who RSVP'd for the webinar. So if you RSVP'd officially for the webinar, we will be emailing you the PowerPoint presentation that we put together for tonight tomorrow. So you can look for that in your email box. But if you have like a business that you're looking to start, you can, Instagram. If you have a business that you're looking to start, you can work with Denisha and myself. We offer what's called our Business in the Box package. And in the Business in the Box package, we professionals who have formed multiple types of business, we form your business for you. And in that package, you get a 30-minute consultation with both Denisha and myself. So you get to talk to an experienced business attorney and an experienced business accountant. And then you tell us about like the business that you're looking to form. So we get like a strong, solid understanding. And then you also get your questions asked, because like I can just give you general advice on how to like form a hair extension business, but the way that you're going to go about doing your hair extension business, like some of you guys might have a storefront. Some of you guys might only sell online. And that's going to affect like how you should set up your business based on your strategy for operating this business. And so once we get to know a little bit more about how you plan to operate your business, then we can tell you the best way to like set up your business and like, you know, what state might be the best for you to form in and other things like that. So that's why we do the 30-minute consultation. And then you're going to have questions about starting up a business. Like, you're going to have questions about taxes. You're going to have questions about an EIN number. You're going to have questions about what type of business like you should form. And so you get to ask all of these questions in the 30-minute consultation that we have. And then we actually set up your business for you. So we'll file the paperwork for your LLC, your S Corp, your C Corp, or whatever we decide is like the best business entity for you. And we also apply for your EIN number. So you're not guessing, did I pick the right tax selection for me when I got my EIN number? Because we're going to do that for you. And then we also give you a work for hire agreement. So that way, when you're going out to hire a graphic designer, a videographer, or whoever, you have an agreement that you can give them to ensure that you're going to own the rights to your intellectual property that you're paying them to create for you for your business. And so those That's everything you get in the business in the box. And you can actually, if you want more information about the business in the box or you're interested in purchasing it, you can actually get it from my website at, and I'll talk about trademarks in a second. You can get that from my website, www.jpaye.com. And if you're in Instagram, it's also the link in my bio, like the business in the box. But if you just have like general questions that I wasn't able to like address tonight, or you just want to have like a more personal conversation with other people, like hearing your questions and comments, because sometimes, people just want to talk more privately. You do have that option. You can book a legal chat with me. And again, if you're on Instagram, the link to book a legal chat with me to talk more privately one-on-one is on my website. And on YouTube, if you want to book like a legal chat with me to talk more specifically about your business, you can go to my website, jpaye.com, and on the homepage, you'll be able to book a legal chat with me, and we can talk more privately if you don't want to have a public discussion about your business. But a couple of people on Instagram asked about trademarks. So yes, I can apply for a trademark registration for your specific business. The way that trademarks work, though, is if you have like a logo or a service mark that you use for your specific business, one of the things the trademark office is going to want to see is that you're actually using that trademark in commerce. Meaning, do you have like a website with that logo on it? Do you have marketing materials and brochures with your logo on it to show that people are associating your brand and your logo with your specific type of hair service? And again, hi to everybody that's just joining in. So that's one of the things that the trademark office is going to consider before they approve your trademark application is, are you actually using the mark in commerce? If you're not using the mark in commerce, but it's something that you like, you want to reserve it while you get ready to like start your business, then you would file what's called an intent to use trademark application. And that's good for 1 year. So it's just saying, hey, I haven't officially started my business yet, but I plan to be officially up and running in a year. And so I just want to reserve this trademark so nobody else can apply for it or use it in this year time frame that is taking me to get my business set up. And so that's what's called an intent to use for a trademark application. But if you're currently already using it in the marketplace, then you can go ahead and apply for a regular trademark application. And the filing fee, the filing fee does not include my legal fees. That's a separate thing. But the filing fees to get a trademark is $225 for each like category that you register your trademark in. So for example, if you're selling hair, that would be one category. But if you also wanted to apply that to like t-shirts or merch that you're going to make for your business, then that would be another category. So that would be $225 for each category. So it'd be like $500 just for the trademark application. And I always say you don't have to get all your trademarks at one time. You can start with like the area where you're actually making the money. And then as you move into other categories, you can apply for your trademark registration. But if you just want to, and like I said, you do have to show that you are using it in the category that you're applying for your trademark registration for. And with trademarks, you can register a word mark. So that means if you have like a unique word phrase that you're using for your hair extension line or any business, you can trademark that. There are some things that they consider, so I would need to talk to you more specifically to see if you would be able to trademark your word mark, or you can do what's called a design mark, and that would apply to like your stylized logo. And again, if you do a design mark versus a word mark, it's $225 for each type of trademark that you apply for. So the only other thing that I have to give you guys is how you can get in touch with Janisha and myself if you have questions. And again, all this information is going to be in the PowerPoint presentation that we email out to everybody that registered. And if you didn't register, then I guess you can send us an email and see if we can send it to you. But that's one of the advantages of registering for the webinars, is that, we send you the PowerPoint presentation. But if you want to reach out to me, you can email me at info@jpaye.com. And then on Instagram, all that stuff is in my link in my bio. So you can schedule your free legal chat with me using the link in my bio. And then my website information is also in the link in my bio. So you can definitely go there and go to my website to send me an email, because I make it pretty easy to access me on my website. Or if you want to give me a call, you can do that. You can reach me on my business number, which is 312-627-0054. And again, like I said, I know Denisha wasn't here to answer any of like the tax, financial, and accounting questions. But if you're looking to reach out to her about tax questions or finance questions, then you can reach her at Gray, Gray, at gray-financial.net. And then, like I said, but you'll get all this contact information tomorrow. And then her Instagram is at gray_financial. So you can definitely reach out to her and email her any like financial tax questions that you have. So if you guys have, now we can just open it up for Q&A while we have some time. So if you have any questions specifically about starting a hair extension business or just any business in general, you can type them in, and then I'll just answer a couple questions. And you guys know it costs like money to have like a private one-on-one consultation with an attorney or an accountant. So like I said, if you guys have questions, definitely type them in and use this opportunity to get them answered. Because usually most attorneys, just to have an initial consultation with them, you're going to have to pay $150 or more. So now, you're getting it for the free. So definitely take advantage of it. But I saw a question that says, how long does it take? I'm assuming the question means how long does it take to get a trademark registration approved? And you can let me know if that's, yeah. So that is correct. So how long does it take to get a trademark registration approved? Once you submit the application to the USPTO, the trademark office, it takes about 9 months for them to review it and issue you a trademark certificate. And that's assuming, there's a couple things that can happen in the process. But if those things such as an office action or an opposition aren't filed, it takes about 9 months for you to get your trademark certificate once you apply for it. And then, can you start your business and have subsidiaries? So yes, you can start a business and have subsidiaries under your parent business, but it also just depends on what kind of business you're starting. To say if that really makes sense for you to have a subsidiary. So it's kind of hard for me to answer that question without really knowing more specifically what type of business you're trying to start. But if you're just starting a hair extension business, you don't need to really have subs under you. Usually subs are good. And even from a tax and legal perspective, it's good if you have lots of business units. And you're kind of like a mega company. But if you're not, then there's not really a need to have a sub. But you can structure your business that way. Long story short, to your question. And then we still have time for a few more questions. For a consulting business, yes. So the question is, yes, you can have subsidiaries for a consulting business, but is your consulting business that different where you're going to have I don't know what kind of IT consulting, and then you're doing business consulting, or I don't know what other consulting you're doing, but I don't think it's that different that it would warrant you to have multiple LLCs for each different type of consulting that you're doing. So another question that came in is, if I have an LLC with my business name, and the domain name is taken. So yeah, so that happens sometimes too, where and this is why I always encourage people when you are looking to start a business, and that's a really good question. If you are looking to start a business, I always say search the internet first before you apply for your business name and before you even try to like trademark your proposed business name, because you might really find like, hey, I think I have a really dope name for my business, but then somebody else is already operating under that business name, and then you can't register it as a business and you can't really trademark it because somebody else is already doing business under that name. And so in your case, if nobody is using, if the domain name is already taken, it's easier with social media. Like if you can register your domain name and show that you own the trademark, then you can go to like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever, and ask them to transfer over that social media handle to you, because you own, like you can show that you have like trademark rights to it. In the terms of like domain names, that's a little bit like different. So if somebody bought the domain name that you want, you'd have to reach out to them through GoDaddy or whatever third-party website provider that you're using, and seeing if they can broker a sale of the domain name back to you. But they're not just going to give it to you because you now have a business that's using this domain name. And so that's why I always say, before you even form your business, you need to check the internet to see if, because it's an investment, right? You're investing into yourself and you're investing into your business. And why would you invest money to build something that you can't own? It just doesn't make any sense. And so to make sure that you can own it, you need to check the internet. Okay, so there's a lot of questions coming in on Instagram, so I'm going to try to address them all as quickly as they come in. And like I said, YouTube, if you have any questions, you do have the ability to type, and I can see your questions too. So like I said, we definitely want to make sure that you're getting value for being on this webinar. So definitely type in your questions. But for the ones that are coming in through Instagram, okay, so for the registering your items on Amazon with a SKU, there is like a site that you can go to generate like SKU numbers for your products, but I don't know that website offhand, but there is like a website where you can go to generate SKU numbers for your products to use on Amazon. But I can't give you like that exact website. So the next question. So when you're checking to see if your business name is available, should you check your state or internationally for that name to see if it's available? Because Google is like a national thing, you should be able to see all of internationally if there's any business that's using the name that you want if you do like a Google search. But yes, you should check the Secretary of State's website in your specific state to see if that name is available. And then you should also go to the USPTO.gov's website and type in whatever name that you're trying to use to see if somebody has a registered trademark for that business name. All right. Okay, so for the cost, yeah, and I can repeat it. The cost to file a trademark, it's going to be $225 for each category that you register a trademark in, or the type of trademark that you get. So if you do a word mark versus a design mark, it's $225. So that's it just depends on how many categories you're registering it in and what types of marks that you're doing. But the price for one is $225, but it can add up if you're doing more than one category or more than one type of trademark. I think there was another question after the cost. Okay, yeah. So is it necessary to apply for a foreign qualification for a hair extension business or a real estate business? And that's a good question. So a lot of people will form their company like domestically. So and we're gonna have a real estate webinar next week. So if you really want to know how to do a real estate investment company, then tune into next week's webinar. And we're actually going to have a guest who is a well-known real estate developer to help talk to you guys about the practicalities of starting a real estate investment business. And then Denisha should be okay, so she can talk about the financials and I can talk about the legal. So next week is going to be really dope. And if you haven't RSVP'd for it yet, you're definitely going to want to do that, because that webinar is really, the RSVPs are coming in. So it's definitely going to be one to watch if you're looking to get into real estate investing. But to answer your question, do you need to apply for a foreign registration for your hair extension or real estate business? So if you're doing business in like the state that you reside in, so let's just say you live in Atlanta, Georgia, and your business is based here, and you decide from a tax perspective, it makes sense for you to form your business in Atlanta, Georgia, but then you also want to do business in Illinois, then yes, you're going to have to file for a foreign business election to be able to do business in Illinois. But like I said, for hair extensions, though, that's really like a sales tax thing. And so you're going to want to make sure that you get the appropriate sales tax license in each state and each county that you're going to do business in. So that's the answer to that question. Oh, and I see your question on YouTube, so I will address that in a second. But I see your question, so I just wanted to make sure that I acknowledged it. Yeah, so I gave the example for Ohio, Georgia, and then hi everybody on YouTube. So for the question on YouTube, where do you find hair extension suppliers? So there's like strategies on to how people look for hair extension suppliers and what you should look for people who do it. A lot of like the hair clients that I have that have hair extension business, like they're using suppliers out in China, and how they got into, because it's like a secret, like nobody wants to share like who their vendors are. And so they don't let me know exactly how they identified their hair supplier in China, but I know that they say it's not a good idea, because I know some companies sell hair extension supplier list or vendors list, and they say that that's not a good idea to buy these vendor lists. You're definitely just going to want to have to, and like I said, I don't know how they're finding their vendors because they won't share that with me, but they are definitely researching. And I know some people who have actually taken trips to China to meet with vendors there and see the quality of the hair, and then come back to the States and start selling it. So that question, Alexa, I think you're going to have to ask somebody who's actually selling hair. And I wish I could answer it specifically for you, but like I said, my clients won't even tell me how they found their vendors. They're just like, I'm ready to start selling hair, set up my business, and let me know what I need to know from a legal perspective. So, and we did work really hard to get somebody who's actually selling hair on as a guest tonight, so they could talk about the practicalities or the operational aspect of that. But because I'm not actually selling hair, like I pay somebody to do my hair, I can't tell you how to find a vendor, but I can tell you from a legal perspective what you need to know in terms of like being in that business. So I'm sorry. Okay, so a couple more questions on IG. Yes, you are going to need a business license, Tori, for your hair extension business, and you can find out what business license you're going to need. So like if you're in Georgia, you just go to the tax revenue office here to get your business license for Georgia. But any business in Georgia, no matter if you're selling hair or whatever the hell you're selling in Georgia, you need a business license for that. And then in other states, again, you can go to the tax revenue office and they'll let you know specifically what business license you need to do business in that specific state. Well, like I said, if you have a question that you want to ask me and you don't want to do it in this forum, I do offer free 15-minute legal chats. And since you're on IG, you can just go to the link in my bio and click and schedule like your free legal chat, and you can book it at a time that's convenient for you. And if you're on YouTube and you want to have a more in-depth conversation with me, you can go to my website, jpaye.com, and schedule your free legal chat there. I mean, I talk to people all the time about like different businesses. And even if you don't hire me, I hope you do though, you'd walk away with insight and information that you can use moving forward in your business. So yeah, if you want to talk to me more one-on-one outside of this setting, you can book your free legal chat. And like I said, if you want Denise and I to form your business for you, we offer the business in the box, and we'll search your name for you too with the business in the box to tell you if you can use it. We'll do your tax election for you. We'll get your EIN number and stuff like that. So, and you can see more what's available in the business in the box by clicking the link in my bio or going to my website. So I think that's it for questions. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes, and then because I got contracts I got to review and actual client work that I got to get done. So if you guys don't have any more questions, then I'll leave it open for a little second. Yes, it's very nice to see Black folks supporting each other. I agree. We need to do more of that. But if you don't have any more like business questions, like I said, next week we'll be talking how to start a real estate investment company. A lot of people have already started RSVPing for that webinar. And as some of you know, I am an equity owner in Tulsa Real Estate Fund, and I helped to start that business. And I work with a lot of well-known real estate developers and real estate investors. And we are going to have a special guest on next week who can talk about the operational part of starting a real estate investment company. So you're going to get you should be able to walk away from next week's webinar, able to start your own real estate investment company from an operational standpoint, from an accounting standpoint, and from a legal standpoint. So if you haven't already RSVP'd, the link is on my website and in my Instagram bio. So it looks like that is it. So I'm going to sign off and say, have a good night. And definitely thanks for everybody on YouTube, and thanks for everybody on IG for tuning in. And hopefully I will see you next week. And like I said, if you RSVP'd, we will email you the PowerPoint presentation that we put together for tonight's how to start a hair extension business. So everybody have a good night. And if you know anybody that, needs this information, or, want to talk to Denisha and myself, definitely share our contact information. So everybody have a good night, and I will talk to you later. Bye.